When Jaehaerys I died in 42 AC, the crown by law should have passed to his son, Prince Aegon. But Queen Visenya had other plans. She flew to Pentos and recalled her son Maegor Targaryen, who returned on Balerion the Black Dread. Crowned with Aegon the Conqueror's steel circlet instead of Jaehaerys' golden crown, he took the Iron Throne by force. His reign was short, but infamous, remembered with a single name, Maegor the Cruel. From youth, Maegor was born to violence. At 13, he defeated hardened knights in the melee. At 16, he was knighted by Aegon himself, the youngest knight in the realm at the time. Unlike his brother, Maegor hungered for combat, cruelty, and mastery. Where Jaehaerys wavered, Maegor struck without hesitation. Chief among Maegor's foes was the Faith Militant. When he seized King's Landing, the warrior's sons held the Sept of Remembrance. To prove his right, Maegor agreed to a trial of 7. He and 6 champions against Sir Daemon Morrigan, called Daemon the Devout, and 6 warriors' sons. The battle was brutal. When it ended, Maegor alone lived, though struck senseless by a grievous head wound. For 27 days he lingered near death. Then, under the care of Tiana of the Tower, his lover from exile, he rose again. His first act was vengeance. Flying Balerion to the Sept of Remembrance, he unleashed dragonfire. Hundreds of warriors' sons died screaming, their sept consumed. For 7 days, smoke hung over King's Landing. This was only the beginning. Maegor waged war across the realm. At Stonebridge, so many poor fellows died the Mander was said to run red for 20 leagues, giving the site its new name, Bitterbridge. At the Great Fork of the Blackwater, 13,000 zealots fell, joined by rebellious lords of the Riverlands and Westerlands. Maegor's victories were bloody, decisive, and merciless. Even after the death of one High Septon and the election of a more conciliatory successor, the violence continued. Maegor never forgave the faith. Despite 6 marriages, Maegor produced no true heirs. His brides were chosen for proven fertility, widows and maidens alike. Yet his only offspring were stillborn abominations, eyeless, limbless, twisted things. Rumors whispered of dark sorcery, curses, or divine punishment. With each horror, his cruelty deepened. His wives became known as the Black Brides. Among them was Rhaena Targaryen, widow of Prince Aegon, whom Maegor forced to wed after killing her husband at the battle beneath the God's Eye, where Quicksilver was slain by Balerion. Maegor's greatest achievement was the completion of the Red Keep in 45 AC, but even this turned to terror. After hosting a grand feast for the builders, he had them all slaughtered, so none could reveal its hidden tunnels and traps. Soon after, he began the Dragon Pit atop Rhaenys' hill. When no craftsman dared work for him, he conscripted prisoners and slaves overseen by foreign builders from Myr and Volantis. As his reign wore on, Maegor grew more hated. The faith defied him, lords rebelled, and even his family turned against him. With no heirs, his legitimacy faltered. After Visenya's death in 44 AC, he lost his greatest ally. Day by day, the realm turned against him. In 48 AC, Prince Jaehaerys, son of Rhaenys, claimed the throne. Lords rallied to him. Maegor remained in the Red Keep, isolated, paranoid, and without friends. In 48 AC, Maegor was found dead upon the Iron Throne. Some say he cut himself on its blades until he bled out. Others whisper he was slain by one of his few remaining followers, or that the throne itself rejected him. However it happened, the most hated king in Westeros's history died alone. Maegor reigned for only 6 years, but his legacy was one of horror. He left no heirs, no allies, only ash and blood. Yet in his wake rose Jaehaerys I, the conciliator, who would heal the wounds his uncle had carved into the realm. Thus ended the reign of Maegor the Cruel, remembered as the bloodiest king ever to sit the Iron Throne. His was a reign of terror, where dragonfire fell on septs, kings were slain beneath the God's Eye, and even great works like the Red Keep were stained in blood. In the next episode, we tell of his successor, Jaehaerys I, the wise and the conciliator, who would rule longer than any Targaryen and bring peace to a realm scarred by 48 AC. After Maegor the Cruel died upon the Iron Throne, the realm was left broken and bloody. From that ruin rose a boy of 14, Jaehaerys Targaryen, son of Rhaenys and Alyssa Velaryon. Crowned by the High Septon, guided by his mother and Lord Rhaegar Baratheon as regents, he would grow into one of the greatest kings Westeros ever knew. History remembers him as the Conciliator and the Old King. Though young, Jaehaerys was no weakling. He was a warrior, skilled with lance and bow, and a dragon rider of Vermithor, a mighty bronze beast, second only to Balerion and Vhagar. From the first, he showed wisdom and restraint beyond his years, always seeking peaceable ends. In time, he wed his sister, Alysanne Targaryen, whose warmth, wit and compassion matched his steadiness. Together they became the realm's most beloved royal couple. The scars of Maegor's tyranny ran deep. Rebellions simmered, the faith militant still smoldered, and lords mistrusted the Iron Throne. Jaehaerys set out to heal the wounds. He recalled rebels, pardoned foes, and sought reconciliation. Unlike Maegor's iron fist, Jaehaerys ruled with patient diplomacy. Foremost among his allies was Septon Barth, a blacksmith's son raised to high office. Despite whispers of unorthodoxy, Jaehaerys named him Hand of the King. With Barth's wisdom, the king undertook reforms that transformed the realm. Where Aegon the Conqueror had left each kingdom to its own traditions, Jaehaerys created the first unified code of law. From the north to the Dornish marches, the realm would share one rule. He launched great works, sewers, drains and wells for King's Landing, for Barth argued that fresh water and waste disposal were vital to a city's health. Most famous were his roads. The King's Road, stretching from King's Landing to the Wall, and other highways that bound the realm together. These roads made travel, trade, and royal justice swifter, knitting 7 disparate kingdoms into one. Perhaps his most enduring achievement was peace with the faith. Where Maegor had burned septs and slaughtered zealots, Jaehaerys sought compromise. With Barth's diplomacy, he reached an accord. The last warriors' sons and poor fellows laid down arms. The faith accepted the crown's authority and justice, and the king swore that the Iron Throne would always defend the Seven. Thus, the schism between crown and faith, born in Aegon's time and worsened by Maegor, was healed forever. Queen Alysanne was no mere consort. She softened Jaehaerys' stern judgments, advocated for the small folk, and travelled widely on progresses of her own. Known as Good Queen Alysanne, she persuaded her husband to end harsh practices, champion women's rights, and build septs and halls across the realm. Yet even they quarrelled. Most famously in 92 AC, Jaehaerys chose his son Balon as heir over their granddaughter Rhaenys Targaryen. Alysanne, furious at the slight against women, left court for a time. Though they reconciled, the grief of her eventual death weighed on the king's final years. Jaehaerys reigned for 55 years, longer than any Targaryen king. But fate twice robbed him of heirs. His son Aemon died, then Balon, leaving the succession uncertain. To resolve the matter, he called the Great Council of 101 AC, summoning lords from across the realm to Harrenhal. Thousands gathered, filling fields with tents until the town of Harrenton became the fourth largest in the realm. There the lords chose Viserys Targaryen, grandson of Jaehaerys, over Princess Rhaenys and others. This precedent, male primacy and succession, would one day ignite the Dance of the Dragons. In 103 AC, after more than half a century on the throne, Jaehaerys died, weary with grief and age. He was mourned across the Seven Kingdoms as the greatest of the Targaryens, the king who had turned Maegor's ashes into peace and prosperity. Jaehaerys left Westeros a realm more unified than it had ever been, roads binding its kingdoms, laws shared by all, and the faith reconciled to the crown. His reign was not free of sorrow. Quarreling heirs, dead children, and the loss of Alysanne shadowed his later years. Yet his legacy was stability and strength. He was the conciliator, the old king, and the greatest builder of peace in Targaryen history. Thus ended the reign of Jaehaerys I, who ruled longer than any king of his line. His peace would not last, for his great council's decision planted seeds of discord that would one day erupt into civil war. In our next episode, we turn to his grandson, Viserys Targaryen, a king whose reign of comfort would set the stage for the bloodiest struggle in Targaryen history.